Shalom. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black thing, a color thing. This is a bloodline thing, the Israelites. All right, and to the few akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And the saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words, these two are worth about 10,000. And I'm going to start with 2 Ezra 9, and it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that it is the Most High, that the Most High spake those things from the things from the days that was before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, the end is manifest. Even so the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works, endings and effects and signs. And all the signs are here. Okay, they're all here. I think it's Ecclesiastes 14, I believe, that I'm looking for, because we truly are witnessing the fall of our enemy. All right, well, that's not what I was looking for, but the Lord brought me here anyway. This is Ecclesiastes, Sirach, the 14th chapter, starting at verse 4. And it reads, He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others, that spend his goods riotously. All right, so Esau, Edom has gathered by defrauding everyone else. The lands, the wealth he has is all done by defrauding people. By rape, robbery, murder, theft, contractual, unrighteous, unlawful, biblically unlawful, contractual law, oppressing people into debt so that they can own their land or control the resources on other people's lands, which is why they send armies all over the place. And now they're having a hard time maintaining those armies, and their constituents, their partners, now want them out of their lands. All right. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his own good. So now you got the U.S. is collapsing within. They're being evil and wicked to their own people. Many Americans that were patriots, that believed in Trump, that believed in the system, that bought into it and paid into it, have lost everything and are losing everything. All right. And it says the EU dumps U.S. defense. China gears up for global war. U.S. has made enemies of the neighboring nations on their borders. So they have this cushion of being of a two seas in between them. You have the cushion of the Pacific Ocean to the west. You had a cushion of the Atlantic Ocean to the east. All right. And then you even have a further cushion when you looked at the Gulf of Mexico, which they're now trying to call the Gulf of America. All right. You have the space in between you. Now your enemies are on your doorstep. And your enemies will collaborate with your major enemies, which are China, Russia. China gears up for global chaos. So, it's really not looking good. I'm going to try to find that scripture again. Just bear with me for a moment. Yeah, it's not. Coming up that way. Nope, that's not it. That particular scripture always eludes me. But Lord's will, someone can put that on the comment board for me. I just cannot think of that scripture right. It's the one that says, if there be 9 things, and it count that, and it said when a man has the joy of his children and to see the fall of his enemy. And we're seeing the fall of our enemies. All right. And it is a beautiful thing. They're losing it. So I'm going to play a little bit of this first video. Of course, they're going to put on a damn commercial, these assholes.
I've been trying to care for my lawn myself, but
you caring for a lawn that's about to burn up. Babylon's about to burn, man. Fuck out of here.
Here, France has called on all of its citizens to begin to leave the Middle East. We have Al Arabia reporting that this move suggests that there's going to be...
So you notice when the West reports on Western Asia, it calls it the Middle East. But when the people that are from that region report on it, they call it Western Asia. You notice that. So Esau is defiance to the truth to the very, very end. They want to control the narrative. There is no such thing as the Middle East. All right. They made it up, just like they made up everything to try to control the narrative, to try to pale wash history. All right. That term came about in the 1800s because of the East India Trading Company, which was out of Britain. And from Britain to India, Western Asia was about the midway point. Hence the term the Middle East. All right, it was the midway point. So so Middle East is a fucking direction. Excuse my French, but not really. All right, it's a direction, not a place. It's Western Asia, and Western Asia is connected to you can walk right out of Africa into Western Asia. So all the people of that region were melanated people, swarthy people, chocolate people, including the Arabs, the Ishmaelites, the Elamites, and that would be the people of Mesopotamia, the Babylonians, the ancient, the people in Iraq and all those places. All those people were chocolate. The Syrians, Assyria, Earl of Chaldees, all those people in Western Asia were chocolate people until the conquering of Alexander of Macedon, the Edomite. And he brought in the Edomite armies, and they, did what they do: rape, rob, murder, lighten up the region, created that mixed look. All right. So let's get it right.
And a awareness among French and other governments that we're going to see some sort of military action against Iran and against Middle Eastern countries.
Let me run that back.
This move suggests that there's going to be an awareness among French and other governments that we're going to see some sort of military action against Iran and against Middle Eastern countries very soon. They say this is an imminent threat. The percentage of borrowers inside the USA that are 60 days late on their car payments has reached its highest record ever. Walmart inside of the country, the CEO said that Americans are running out of money. They said,
so you got six-figure people included in this number. You know, women that chased the bag. All right. And, you know, and they're losing. They're completely losing. They found out that they've been lied to by Esau Edom. All these people that are in the, what do you call the tech sector are, and which are mostly women. They make up the majority of that. So all that working from home, all that sitting up on the computer inside of the Starbucks, all right, inside of the Collective, and what was the other coffee spot in Chicago and around the Doll Pop or Dolly Pop, whatever you call it, all that sitting there looking cute, tapping on your computer, working, you know, 3 or 4 hours a day, if that, you know, and making six figures, that's over. And they know it. All right, it's over, because this man has a system where is collapsing, and he's evil unto himself. Matter of fact, let me go back to that. That was in is that Ecclesiastes or the second Ezra? No, that was Ecclesiastes. He that is evil to himself. Yep. Sirach 14:5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? Shall he not take pleasure in his goods? So, you know, Trump got into office, you know, and Esau, you know, what they're doing is that their very own support base, they're being evil to, from within and from without. All right, you know, it's like everyone knows that these fires weren't natural, that the things blew weren't burning. And then the videos of the fires being, you know, people riding around on what do you call those things? Those four-wheeler things? Shooting off, look like Roman candles into the forest and stuff, you know. And these strategic places, you know, these are strategic places near the ocean front, you know, in certain specific areas. And then you find out that there's all sorts of things under the soil in those areas that they want. So now, right now, because they're like not even talking about it anymore. But you had just 2 days ago, there were 26,000 acres. You know how big that is, how much land that is in the Florida Keys. And had 80,000+ people, damn near 100,000 people trapped, because the roads that they would take to get out of those areas were all cut off by the flames, by the fires. All right, so I haven't even heard anything else about that. It's just like the story just went away. And then all the, you know, the fires in California, the fires in Hawaii, all these, you know, strategic places, a flood on the high ground. Floods always happen in lowlands. You had a flood in the mountains, you know, not that long ago. Well, where those towns were wiped out, and you find out that, you know, there's some sort of minerals in the earth that, you know, come on, man. He that is evil to himself, man. Esau does not care. Okay. Verse 6, there is none worse than he that envieth himself, And this is a recompense of his wickedness. So this shows a division. A house divided cannot stand. The collapse is from within. You see the title, and it's what's happening. All right. There there will be insurrections. It's for it is written. It says, there is none worse than he that envieth himself, and is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth unwillingly. He didn't mean to do that. When he realizes that he set the people up good, he comes in with new policy and changes and take that away and make the people angry. All right. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. And so this man is showing himself. He's showing it. Esau, Edom, is on the verge of just being that wisdom and Solomon of two letting. Well, okay, you caught us with the devil. Yes, with the devil. But you know what? We have all the guns and all the power. What are you gonna do? Yeah, we disregard the law of the land. What are you gonna do? All right, I control and then these wicked law enforcement will just blindly follow the orders that they're not supposed to follow, and everyone just wants to go along to get along instead of doing what's right, because I guess that's easily. But this is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 1. It says, for the ungodly said, reason within themselves, but not outright. Our life is short and tedious, and the death of a man there is no remedy, neither is there any man known to have returned from the grave. So these Edomites have convinced themselves, for the most part, a lot of them, that they only live once. All right, so they just go for it. All right, but then there are many, especially the families of black nobility. You know, they understand that. That's why they keep the wealth in their family, and they pass it on from son to son. All right, they don't really pass it on to their daughters like that, because they understand that your heritage is through your son. They know that. All right, I was just watching a movie. It was like a dark comedy where the guy said that. And he was really shitty toward his son when he found out his son was impudent, that his son couldn't make children. And he was like, what the fuck? He's like, we live forever, and you need a son to have sons to do that. You're useless to me, basically, in so many words. All right? So they know. It's like, like the Rothschild. One of the Rothschilds, I think they finally broke up, but, one of the Rothschilds was banging Jay Electronica. So she has a child with him. He impregnates her. That's Rothschild wealth going to a Negro. They're not about to let that happen. Oh. So she gets Nathan. All right? Matter of fact, she might get cut off simply because she dated Jay Electronica. All right? But all that wealth is going to get passed on is going to get passed on to the men. All right? And the women that stay with those men. All right? Because once again, your daughter, and I'm a little off, but I'm going to go right back. But it's important to know these things, because your daughter doesn't continue your posterity. Your son does, because your daughter's going to go and get married and get pregnated, and her children are going to be the bloodline of her husband's, not your own bloodline. Your own bloodline is through your sons. All right? So your sons, your grandchildren through your sons were more important than your grandchildren through your daughters, when you're considering family wealth continuing. All right. From that, then that's the way that they look at things, because this is how they operate. All right. But let's jump down to here. Verse 7, it says, Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 7. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. So anything of worth that they find among their own, among the heathen nations, among the poor of their own, they're going to take it. All right. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. Let us leave our our statues in our basque. I mean, not the basque, that means bodies, but what do you call it? The word I'm looking at, our bust, our images, everywhere, that we were here, that we were ruling. All right. It says, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. So they prey on the poor, especially the children of Israel, who were promised in the Bible to be the people on the bottom. But now they're preying on their own. He that is evil unto himself, which is why America is on the verge of collapse, world war, and even worse, the Civil War, the insurrections that are going to take place from within. All right. So when they're oppressing the poor man, even with all these unrighteous decrees, that they write into law, they do these wicked, unlawful things and write them into law. He that describes mischief by law. I think that's Psalms 94. All right. But it says, verse 11, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found nothing worth. So you're weak. You weak, poor white man, you mean nothing. You just as bad as these weak, poor Negroes and Spigros. All right. You just as bad as niggas and spiggers. All right. You're just white trash. And the so-called white man, well, this white trash, he gonna get his shotgun and his AR, and he's about to stand up. All right. You done took his Chevy, and now you're trying to take his shotgun. He ain't having that shit. Okay. He had his couple acres. He had his fence. He had his chickens, his goats, and his double wide. Now you're trying to take that from him. No, he ready to get down on you now. Okay. And you know what? And in this current world, what I just described ain't so bad. You got a picket fence, couple acres of land, your own sheep, your own goats, your own chicken, a vegetable garden, and a double wide and a big ass pickup truck. You doing all right. I ain't even mad at you. I'm not going to scoff you at all. You're doing better than most, But what's that going to lead to? These insurrections, this infight, which is a part of Jacob's trouble. And there's all sorts of acts. He got two twins that were just killed by some Edomite. They tried to write it off as a murder-suicide, and now they've arrested some Edomite male, some pale male that was connected to that, which was beyond obvious. Before they even came, it's like, come on, man. The family's like, man, these twins are inseparable, and all of a sudden they're gonna murder each other. Fuck out of here, man. But 2nd Ezra 13:31. Yep. And one shall undertake and fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. So these fights are breaking out worldwide, within cities, within counties, within small countries, within large countries, within neighborhoods. All right. So it's not only going to be a world war. As these world wars are breaking out, they're going to be insurrections among the people against the local governments and authorities, and against each other for the lack of bread and food. All right. Which is bringing on these days. This is we'll get ready to wrap it up. This is 2nd Ezra 15:14. It's woe to the world and them that dwell therein. This is woe. All right. Woe means destruction. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're not going to acknowledge law enforcement anymore, especially law enforcement that is working for an illegal and crooked government, as it will be in the eyes of the people. All right, because a lot of the law enforcement are going to side with the people. So you're going to have law enforcement versus law enforcement when these days come too. All right, I just watched a video where the woman was talking about the division, and her son was a Marine for 9 years, and how they know that they're going to be fighting some of their own people, some of their own brothers, and how there's a lot of anger in the military. So yeah, you can really have problems. All right. You know, going back some years ago, I think that was when Obama was in office, how you had 1,000 Green Berets that signed some document that said if they start to oppress the people and try to take away the Second Amendment and things of that nature, that they will fire the first shots. So yeah, that would be you got 1,000+ Green Berets and soldiers like them that are banding together. That could create a problem. You know, being patriotical and wanting to actually keep the Constitution in place, because you have people in office for decades now that really go around the Constitution, not to the benefit of the citizens, and the citizens are tired of it. All right. It says, verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard the kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And a man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able." It made me think of that scene in the movie Civil War, which is a heavy movie, man. If you haven't seen it, it really is. And it's just going to turn chaotic. And the scene I'm thinking of is when the reporters that were trying to report, they were even shooting at the reporter van, and they came up on a sniper and his spotter, and the guy was trying to interview them, and like, who are you with? And he's like, we're with nobody at this point. Everything is broken down. And he's like, well, who is this guy? And then the guy, he's like, are you hard of hearing? Because he had already told him, that it's a sniper, and the young girl picked up on it. She's like, it's just the guy that's trying to shoot us, because he had already told him that. He said, we don't know who the hell this guy is. He's just trying to shoot us, and we're trying to shoot him. So it wasn't even any order anymore. Everyone's just against everyone. All right. And it says, "And a man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able." They couldn't go further because you had some food hold up inside of some, I think it was inside of a ski resort or something. Or maybe it was a farm. I don't remember. But he was holed up somewhere where anyone that came, I think it was a ski resort or some sort of family theme park. All right. And anyone that came near the road that came into there, he was shooting them. And the snipers were having a sniper battle with this dude until the sniper with the spotter finally got him. All right. So I imagine, if you're sniping by yourself, but the other guy's got a spotter, he's got a serious advantage. All right. But it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So, they're going to be kicking in doors, man. All right. And all that, I don't need no man. Yeah. It says, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So, I mean, the scenarios that you can think of, how grimy and how wicked it's going to get. All right. Because the man is going to kick in your door. Men, groups of men, they're going to kill your husbands, kill your sons, probably even kill your small children, or maybe they might just leave them there. Like, good luck, small children. Survive on your own. They're definitely going to take you if you're an attractive woman. They're going to take your daughters, all right, if they're attractive. Son, they might even take your sons if they're Edomites. You know how they get down. All right. And they're going to take your food. They're going to have their way with you. And they're either gonna kill you or bring you along with them for stress relief. It's gonna get really, really bad out here, man. And then, you know, you're gonna have the animals. You're gonna have to deal with that element. You're gonna have, you know, mountain lions and beasts and hungry packs of dogs running around, zoo animals let free. It's just gonna be utter chaos in America. That's what the collapse looked like, you know. Makes me think about a scene in that series, The 100. All right, when they had that air, you know, all the zoo animals got out, and these damn gorillas that were eating people or anything, they kill. You know, a gorilla is mighty, so now all of a sudden you got a gorilla that's out of his element. All right, that's hungry. Okay, we know chimpanzees will, you know, eat their prey. When chimps fight against one another, all right, and they do. I didn't even know that. Chimps are cannibals. When they defeat their enemies, they eat the dead. All right, they literally rip them to pieces, you know. And one chimp, a 5 foot tall male chimp that grows up about 5 foot tall, has the strength of about 5 men. So you got a pack of chimps that, you know, that are loose and run around society. They can climb. You think you're safe from men, and all of a sudden you got chimps coming through your window. Oh man, the scenarios is just nightmarish, man. And then, like I said, don't let that be a silverback. You just rip your arms and limbs right off your body. So it's just gonna get really, really bad, man. And the I told you souls are going to be very, very sarcastic, because I am going to sarcastically, you know, release the I told you souls. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal. Prepare for the collapse, because it's coming. Shalom.